There's a new granulating watercolor in town, and I am totally here for it. Hi, Shanna Rowe Jackson here, also known as Caution Artist at Play, because I play with a ton of different art supplies on this channel. And today I have a brand new granulating watercolor from Holbein that we are going to be playing around with. As many of you know, I am a brand ambassador for Holbein, Legion, and General Pencil Co. And so there are times when I do get some product for free from them so that I can try them out before I need to teach about these products in my in-person workshops. And that's how I got these. My friends at Holbein were generous enough to send me each of the themed sets of these granulating watercolors for me to try. There are 6 tubes in each of these sets, and they each have their own theme. So we have landscape, we have flower, we have bird, and we have moon. And I'm going to take a look at these, get my first impressions of these sets, play around on some different papers, and just get a general feel for them. There's a lot of ground to cover. Let's just get down to it and play with these fun paints. Okay, let's take a closer look at these sets. I have 4 sets of 6 here. Each set has its own theme. There's the bird theme, the flower theme, the landscape theme, and the moon theme. Super fun. And the beautiful artwork that was done on these was done by an art YouTuber named Raczynska. She does some beautiful loose watercolors, and I will link her in the description below. So let's take a closer look at the bird set. We have Burke's Parrot Pink, Flamingo Orange, Japanese Bush Warbler Green, Peafowl Green, Eurasian Jay Rose Gray, and Shoebill Blue Gray. And then looking at the flower set, these are just so fun, and I love the names on these paints. Get that one turned around. We have Trumpet Vine Red, Cherry Blossom Pink, Mimosa Yellow. That is such a fun name. Look at that. That is so cute. And then we have Jade Vine Blue, Clematis Violet, and Echinops Green Gray. So that's what the floral set looks like. Moving on to the landscape set. Look at how beautiful that artwork is. We have here Pampas Grass Yellow, Wonder Forest Green, Ocean Blue, Nightfall Indigo, Twilight Purple, and Daybreak Orange. So much fun. And then the moon set, which I think is just such a neat theme for a set of paints. We have Lunar Eclipse Red, Full Moon Yellow, Earthshine Violet, Hazy Moon Yellow, Moonlit Night Blue, and Rainy Night Moon Black. Oh, so fun. I love these. I have a feeling I'm going to really like the landscape and moon sets, just knowing myself. This is a closer look at the tubes of paint. It has the classic Holbein Artist Watercolor branding. We have here all the light fast information, the pigment information, and whether or not it is transparent. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And these are all 5 ml tubes, which I'm going to show you just how much you can get out of these tubes. I am going to put together my own palette, and then I also have some sample palettes that I am going to be putting together for some of my friends. So here's the palette that I'm going to be using. This is an empty palette by Christy Rice. She is another loose style watercolor artist here on YouTube. This was first put on my radar by my friend Lindsay Wyrick, who's the Frugal Crafter. She did a review of some of Christy's stuff, and man, I love me a strawberry aesthetic, so I just had to get it. Now, what I am doing is I am writing the information of each color on the side of my pans, and then I am filling them with my watercolors. And I am going to go in order of the sets. I am going to start with my bird set, then the flower set, then the landscape set, and the moon set. And so the top row is going to be bird and flower, and the bottom row will be landscape and moon. So I'm just filling each one of these up, and then I'm going to let them dry. And I like to write the information on the side of the pan so that I have it for later, so that when I run low, I know what color to refill it with. But I will also be doing kind of a number system when I swatch these. You'll see that a little bit later. And what I will be doing is just putting the numbers according to where they are in my pan set. And then on the back, I'm going to write all the pigment information and the names of them. So that way there, I will have that information for later. And you can get an awful lot. So what I'm doing right now is you can tell, like, I'm filling mine, but you might be able to see that some of these tubes are used already. I had permission from my contact at Holbein to create some sample packs for my friends Lindsay Wyrick, Karen Clark, and Angela Clark. They are also YouTubers. They'll be getting sample packs of these. So I had filled up their little sample palettes first, and then I filled mine, and then I came back and topped them off. And so now you can see just how much paint you can get out of a 5 ml tube. It's actually amazing. So what I did for them was I had these little sample palettes, and each of them have 12. So for palette 1 for them, I put the bird and flower sets in it. And then for palette 2, I put the landscape and moon sets, and then I just marked them so they knew which was which. And I filled out a key with all the information for them so they can try them out. And stay tuned because the 4 of us may be doing a collaboration with these. And I still have a little bit left in each tube, so I'll be able to top myself off when I get low. But this is what it looks like. Okay, so now that I have this all put together, let's start swatching. So I'm going to try these on the papers that I use the most. So right now I'm doing my actual swatch cards on the Arches paper. I am doing it on hot press and cold press so I can get a view of how the granulation works on each of these paper surfaces. And then later on, you're going to see me pick a few colors that I really enjoyed from these swatches, and I am going to be trying them out on the Legion Stonehenge Aqua, and I will be trying that on the hot press and cold press of that paper as well, just to see how these really look on the papers that I use the most, because I tend to use Arches and the Stonehenge Aqua paper the most when I'm working with watercolors. So it's more or less just so I can see what they're going to act like on the papers that I like to use. I definitely recommend that if you get a granulating watercolors in general, swatch them on the different types of paper you have, because they're going to look different according to the type of paper you have, even within a brand. So obviously the hot press and the cold press look different, but they look different on the hot press Arches than they do on the hot press Stonehenge paper. And so try it on the different papers you have, because you might figure out a good combination of paint and paper that you like best for the way that you work that way. And so that's kind of what I'm doing here. And I had a lot of fun. Like immediately I could tell there were certain colors. So for instance, the Eurasian J Gray, which is number 5 on my swatch cards, on the Arches hot press, it was already so exciting. It was super striking. You could see the different color separation. Now, I want to mention each of these is going to have more than one pigment in it. They are going to have that so that when the granulation happens, you can have that separation of color in some of them, and it makes it really interesting and dynamic. So none of these are single pigment colors. They are all between a 3 and a 4 and on the light fastness scale. So they're all between good and excellent on the light fastness scale. Okay, so now I am working on my swatches of some of my favorite colors. So when I was looking at my swatches that I did on the Arches, there were a couple colors I wanted to see more closely. So I am working on the Stonehenge Aqua hot press right now, just because I wanted to see what these look like on the hot press paper by Legion. And I have to tell you, it already looks a little bit different. The granulation shows up more on the hot press for Arches than it does on the hot press for Stonehenge. However, the Stonehenge Aqua cold press, the granulation shows up way better than it does on the cold press for the Arches, which is really interesting. And actually, I have to say, the Arches hot press, the granulation showed up way more striking than it did on the cold press. And then with these, it's the opposite. So it's really interesting to me. And you can see here, some of these colors were really highly granulating on that hot press by Arches, and then not so much with the cold press, which I found to be really interesting. And they're beautiful on the cold press by Arches, but they're not, it's just not the same as, it wasn't what I was expecting. So you can see you're not getting as much of that color shift as you do with the hot press. And then to me, it seems to be the opposite with the Stonehenge Aqua. So we have the cold press is just showing all these different fun colors. And again, I just picked out a few of the more striking colors to do this with. But look at that granulation and separation. And that's what I expected. I expected these to do better on a cold press, generally speaking, because of the nature of granulating watercolors. And this is how it looks on the hot press. And it's beautiful. You get that separation and those fun, different, colors, but it's not the same as it was on the Arches hot press. Okay, so now we're just going to go set by set, and I actually have some of the Stonehenge Aqua cold press that I'm working on. I have a large block here, and I am just working section by section, and I am going according to the different sets. So the first set of 6 in my palette is the bird set. So for this one, I am doing a bird. I'm a crazy bird lady. I'm not gonna lie. We have over like 40 chickens. I love me my chickie birds. And so I'm like, when I think of birds, I'm going to think of my own birds. I'm going to paint one of my chickens. Now, this was just a quick sketch, so it's not the most accurate sketch, but I do think it's funny to take pictures of birds, or I should say to take pictures of chickens from the front, because they just look grumpy. Like, this is one pissed off bird. I'm not going to lie. She looks so grumpy in this. And I always just found this photo funny. And so I thought it would be a fun one just to practice. And I do really love these colors. They're very interesting. I think that they'd be good for tropical birds as well. But I live in Maine and I have chickens and, these aren't the most tropical. But I was able to find a way to work on a bird that is definitely not tropical with these. And so I think it will be a good range of colors for both kinds of birds. And she's a barred rock, so she's got some stripes, and I'm putting in those little stripes, and I'm letting it flow a little bit. And you'll see in a little while, I'm going to come in with my spray bottle and spray it down, because that is going to give it even extra granulation. Just really, really fun to watch the colors bleed into one another and see where they go. These are exactly the kind of paint I've been looking for as an artist who has been wanting to loosen up with my watercolors. And so each of these paintings is going to be quite loose and fun. And these lend themselves beautifully to that style. Even if you're painting a little bit tight, they inherently have a loose look to them because of the granulation. So now I'm putting in the background, and normally I would do that first, but I was so excited about this chicken that I just wanted to jump right in. And the greens that were in this set were beautiful for this. I was able to mix the colors that I need just out of these 6 colors. And honestly, I love having these small little themed sets because it's a great way to practice with a limited color palette and to create some sort of color scheme for your artwork. And it's a great challenge for color mixing, and all of these colors mix really well. So I had fun working on each of these individual little paintings. I love this loose look. The colors played well with one another. I was able to mix them really well. And I was overall pretty happy with the selection. One of my favorite colors from all of these comes from this set. It's the Eurasian J Rose Gray. It's kind of a purpley pink, and I don't know, it was just gorgeous. Look at that fun granulation and all the varying color schemes there. So now I'm going to hop down and I am going to work on the landscape side. Now, I did this mainly because I wanted this whole left side to be dry before I work on the right side of the page. And so I'm jumping around a little bit, but I'm going to the landscape set next. And I got to be honest, I was super stoked about this particular set because I'm a landscape girly. I'm a sky girly. And it does have some beautiful colors in it. Some kind of unexpected colors for a landscape set. I would have expected to see more of the greens in there. Like, for instance, the green that is in the bird set, the Japanese bush warbler green, that one is a beautiful olivey green. I think that would have worked well in landscape as well. But if you get more than one of these sets, you're going to have all the different colors that you need anyway. I really am enjoying the colors in this set though. And with that color, the pampas grass yellow, you can mix that easily with the Wonder Forest green and the ocean blue to get the greens that you want to get anyway. But for this one, I wanted a predominantly warm kind of scheme because that yellow is just gorgeous. So I wanted that to be the main backdrop. And I came in with my Daybreak Orange and Twilight Purple to work out those browns in the foreground with my trees. I had so much fun with this one. I think this one probably took me the longest just because I was having so much fun that I didn't pay attention. Each of these took between 20 to 25 minutes to make, maybe half hour at most. They're very small and I just wanted a sampling. Like, I'm not trying to make masterpieces here. I just wanted to see how each of these sets work. Later on, I will probably do another painting using all the colors, but I thought that this would be a good comprehensive review so that if you just wanted to buy a set at a time, then you could get an idea of how each of these sets work. Now, these colors are only available in sets at the moment, so they aren't available open stock at this time, but hopefully down the line, maybe some point they will be. And they're not even available at Blick yet. I will link them as soon as they're available at Blick. They will be available in the US very soon. I hear that they might also be available at Michael's. And so as soon as I have that to link, I will put it in the description and I will probably do a pinned comment. However, they are available at Jackson's Art Supply right now. At the time of this filming, they are only available at Jackson's as the large 24 set, but they will ship to the US. Of course, all of this is subject to change because this is still a very new product, and as time goes on, the availability will become more robust. Look how beautiful that is. I love this set so much. It's just so exciting. I had so much fun with that landscape one, and I kind of want to do another one like it larger. I love the way the sunbeams look. Okay, so now we are going to be jumping back to the floral set. I am going to be sketching out some lilacs and painting loosely. I'm trying to be very good about painting loosely, and I'm telling you, these are going a long way to helping me out with that goal. So I went in and I'm just kind of dropping in. I had a light sketch just to get the cone of the flower out and a few of the actual shapes of the lilacs. But I'm not going to be too precious about it. I'm going in with my Clematis Violet color and the Cherry Blossom Pink. And you can just see how they're kind of running together. I love it so much. The funnest thing about having a paint like this, the granulating watercolors, especially when you have some that have these different pigments in them that are like almost completely opposite pigments, is you get some unexpected color in there. Like we're having some kind of orange hues come through in those flowers because of the different kinds of pigments that are combined in these paints. And I love that so much. You just don't know which way it's going to go necessarily, and I love that mystery of it. And as somebody who, I like to do a lot of realism, I like to have a lot of control, this is the perfect kind of paint to help me loosen up because you only have so much control. Now, it's like that with watercolors anyways. And I have to say, Holbein in general, their regular artist watercolors have a lot of control to them for a watercolor because they don't use a color dispersant the same way that other companies do. And I don't believe they do in these either, but the nature of these colors tends to be a little bit more flowy just in general. And so even again, if you are painting in a little bit more of a controlled way, a lot of what I'm doing here is wet into wet, but even when you paint into dry, you're going to have that kind of fun watercolory look just in general. And so I think these are going to be great alongside my regular Holbein watercolors, which I use quite often. And I do like the color selection in the flower grouping. This was not the one that I was most excited about. And in fact, on my swatches, they were the ones that didn't seem to granulate as much. There is granulation there, don't get me wrong. There's definitely granulation there, but you know, it wasn't as crazy as some of the other colors and some of the other sets, but it's still a beautiful combination of colors and a wide range of colors in that set as well. You know, a red, a pink, a green, a blue, a purple, and like almost like a Payne's gray look. And so I think that that has a great variety of color. Now we are moving on to our last little painting, and this one is the Moon set. This one's got the darkest of the colors in it, and I just wanted to get real loosey-goosey with this one. I used my tape, which by the way, the tape that I used to tape this down came from my friend Sarah Lynn T, also known as So Craftastic. She has some beautiful products, and that's the tape that I used to tape this down. I used that tape to trace out a circle for my moon. It was super convenient. I had it there and it was exactly the size that I needed. And so I just traced a loose kind of moon with that, and I am going wet into wet really bad with this one, folks. I wanted all those dark colors to granulate, and at first I thought I was just going to do a tree line, but then I was like, you know what, it'd be fun to have some water. So I did a little bit of lifting, and I have to tell you, in each of these sets, the lifting works really well. And I just splattered a little bit of water there while it was still wet, and that's where those little spurs are coming from, and I just wanted it to imply some loose stars, and I thought that was a lot of fun. But as far as corrections go, I was able to lift really easily in each one of these sets. They're beautiful. Obviously, you're going to have some pigments that stain more than others, but overall, these were really easy to correct and lift. And I got to tell you, they're just so beautiful on this paper. They just play really, really well on this Legion Stonehenge Aqua Cold Press. Look at these. Oh, I love it so much. Which one is your favorite? I have to tell you, I am in love with every one of these. I am super stoked about these and I can't wait to work with them more. Is there a set that you'd like to see me do a specific video on? Or are you interested in seeing me do a video where I'm combining all of the colors? I love these so much, and my first impression is I'm just over the moon for them. I think that these are a fantastic product, and I can't wait to work with them more alongside my other Holbein watercolors. So let me know, are you excited about these? Do you want to try them at some point? They're pigmented, they're beautiful, the granulation is fantastic, and I really love the fact that it comes in themed sets so that depending on what you paint, you could pick out the colors that would work best for you to start with. All around, super excited about these paints, highly recommend them. All right, folks, that's a wrap. I had a ton of fun with these paints. I can't wait to use them in the future, and I really do want to do a collaboration with my pals. So if you'd like to see that, let me know. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already so that you can see more content like this. I will see you next time. You have a fantastic day. Bye.